South's continuing coverage of the 1996 Paralympic Games. I'm Mike Galanos, joined once again by David Kiley and Skip Wilkins. And gentlemen, right off the bat, we find out who is the fastest amputee athlete in the world. Kind of a Carl Lewis, Michael Johnson thing. The young gun, Michael Johnson, in this is Tony Volpentest, the current world record holder, against the former world record holder, Dennis Older, 36, almost Carl Lewis's range in age. Should be a good one.
Yeah, and we've got Leanne Shannon. She's back, one of the darlings of the track. She's going to be featured tonight on the 100-meter and the 800-meter. Look for her.
Big upset in basketball today. The Team USA hits a major bump in the road.
All right, we'll have that, track, basketball, and we'll also have swimming. Speaking of which, let's head now to the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center. Dave Neal standing by with Cynthia Potter.
Thanks, Mike. And once again, the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center is perhaps the hottest place to be as records continue to fall. As a matter of fact, on the first day of competition, 16 new world records were set, and no doubt that trend will continue. And with me once again is Cynthia Potter, a three-time member of the U.S. Olympic team. And Cynthia, it's almost amazing what these athletes have been able to do.
It's only amazing if you haven't been here and listened to the crowd. Tricia Zorn herself has said it is the most enthusiastic swimming crowd I've ever experienced. And I think that is a big force in helping these swimmers set world records.
Well, we will have Tricia Zorn, a world record holder in her own right, as well as Beth Scott, two of the premier swimmers in the world, as well as some other action. But right now, it's time to send it back to our host, Mike Galanos at Olympic Stadium.
And we will ring your bell literally, showing you goalball for the first time, a very interesting game played by the visually impaired. But coming up next, a very special guest joins us. Stay with us. Bell South is proud to present the 1996 Paralympic Games. Today's coverage is brought to you by IBM, worldwide Olympic sponsor of the 96 Paralympic Games, and by Swatch, the official timekeeper of the 96 Paralympic Games.
I lost my leg when I was 9 years old.
Impossible
Something
is untried.
impossible is something untried.
I was born visually impaired.
Faith is a decision. I was born with cerebral palsy.
There are no hopeless bodies,
Only hopeless hearts. So what's your excuse?
Swatch, official timekeeper, 96 Paralympic Games.
I see you sitting there, nice and cozy. That's right. I see you sitting there watching your TV on your soft, comfortable couch. You got no plans to move for the rest of the day. You got your feet up, you got your chips, you got your cold beer. Hey, have you got any water?
Scott Hollenbeck didn't make it to Atlanta by just sitting there. That's why we're proud to sponsor the 1996 Paralympic Games and all the Sunrise athletes, like Scott.
Oh, really? Have you got any water?
Communication is the link that ties us all together. That's why at these Paralympic Games, you'll find some of the most high-tech communications and some of the simplest. Bell South, keeping you ahead of the game.
Welcome back to Sports South's continuing coverage of the 1996 Paralympic Games. I'm Mike Galanos, joined again by Skip Wilkins, and we're also pleased and honored to be joined by Atlanta's Mayor Bill Campbell. And Mayor Campbell, the world has been to Atlanta twice. You've been the grand host a couple of different times. How are things going the second time around?
It's going fabulously well. The weather's held up, the crowds are very substantial, and we're seeing unbelievable performances. A number of world records shattered tonight. Tony Volpentest, crowd favorite, he did a great job. A 14-year-old girl broke the world record in the 100 meters, so we're seeing incredible athletic performances. It's very special for the city of Atlanta to have this opportunity twice in 1 year.
We really are, Mayor, but you were at the Third World Congress, and your opening remarks, I was one of the consensus chairs. were really strong and far more than a welcoming remark. It was really powerful.
Well, thank you very much, Skip. You know, Atlanta is the home of the civil rights movement, and the torch for the Paralympics was started at the King Center at the Tomb. I thought it was appropriate to link the two about the quest for human and civil rights and these outstanding athletes and their ability to perform against great odds. So it's a wonderful symmetry. It's a great time to be in Atlanta, and we appreciate all the support we've gotten.
Well, you did a great job with that.
As a politician, you know, we're always looking to get more opportunity out there for the disabled athlete, especially the young child. You see, you want them to have all the opportunities that the able-bodied person has. Are we heading in that direction? Do you see?
I think the Paralympics and the televising of the sports competition goes a long way towards making parents realize that they should not see their children as disabled, but simply giving them the opportunity to compete on all levels. And in fact, when you see a 14-year-old girl who sets a world record, you understand that when you get these kids into the young programs, then they're going to have a better life, and that means a better quality for all of us to appreciate the outstanding performances by young and old alike.
Talking about some of the performances, you mentioned Tony Volpentest. It's not like we're looking, you know, the word disabled doesn't even come in. It's just ability and performance. And have you been amazed by the performances as well?
Well, the speech I gave at the Paralympic Congress said that one of the things that we need to understand is that the difference between able-bodied and disabled is only a matter of seconds. Tony Volpentest shattered the world record tonight. His time in the 100-meter dash was only a second and a half slower than that of Donaldson Bailey on this same track only about 2 weeks ago. So that gives people an idea about the marvelous talent of these athletes. Here's a young man born with no arms and no legs, and yet competing at the highest level of sport. It's inspirational for all of us.
And a real test of the human spirit.
Well, that's the motto, the triumph of the human spirit. These Paralympic Games have, as some people have said, they have a better mascot. They have an outstanding opening ceremony.
You're not going to beat that torch lighting.
You're not going to beat the torch lighting, and I think when you see the great crowds and the support we're having, it's very, very special for all of us in the city of Atlanta.
For you, in watching the two separate, the Olympics, Paralympics, I guess you're almost drained emotionally after going through two separate, just spectacular events like this.
Well, of course, the Olympic Games had their ups and downs of their own with the bombing in Centennial Park, but we overcame that, and the resiliency of the people of Atlanta in many ways exemplified the same spirit that's shown here in the Paralympics, triumph over adversity. I think that's what's been so much a part of the Olympic and the Paralympic Games. We're proud of our city. We're also proud of Sports South for televising and giving a lot of people around this country and the world an opportunity to see these marvelous athletes.
And speaking of triumph, music in the background is Tony getting that gold medal right now.
Tony Volpentest, it was an outstanding race. He walked them down. It was great.
And says he'll be back.
Well, I tell you, something special for all of us.
Before we let you go, Mayor, has there been any special story through the Paralympic Games so far? We're about halfway through right now, and just something that you can really say inspired you, or just something you'll take home with you.
It was the torch run. You know, we had Tricia Zorn, who brought the torch into City Hall. She won 39 gold medals before this Paralympic Games. She's won another gold medal already. Imagine that, 40 gold medals. She's still competing, outswims a lot of able-bodied athletes on her own. And I think that's the kind of spirit that really makes you emotional when you see these unbelievable athletes competing and people coming out and supporting.
All right. We will see some of those unbelievable performances a little bit later in the show. Mayor Campbell, thanks again for taking time.
Thanks for having
your busy schedule. All right. And we talked about Tony Volpentest, that world record run coming up a little bit later in the show. Stay with Sports South, the hosts of the 1996 Paralympic Games.
Maybe we can talk all night, wherever you go, whatever you do.
Hi, if your favorite kind of music is soft rock, then you should hear this new album called Lost in Love.
It's a new 4-record collection that has 36 of the best soft rock hits performed by the original artists.
You got it all over him, you got me over him. Secret lovers, who's gonna drive you home?
4 records or 2 cassette tapes are only $19.95.
2 compact discs, just $24.95.
Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-533-1400. That's 1-800-533-1400.
And the Reds visit the Chop Shop to belt it out with McGriff and the Braves. It's World Champion Braves Baseball, live tomorrow night on Sports South.
Welcome back to Sports South in the 1996 Paralympic Games. I'm Mike Galanos, joined once again by Skip Wilkins. And Skip, as we take it to the track tonight, some of the premier athletes in action. We'll have the youngest competitor, Leanne Shannon, going for gold in the 100 and 800 meters. And speaking of the 100, we're going to decide tonight who is the fastest amputee athlete in the world, Tony Volpentest or Dennis Oler. Really, Volpentest, kind of the Michael Johnson of these Paralympic Games.
Yeah, but Mike, he's so much bigger. You know, he represents to all disabled athletes, not only just incredibly inspirational, but just incredible accomplishments. Really, his feats on the track are what's showing us why we are paralleling the Paralympics to the Olympic movement. He's really something to watch.
When you talk about that parallel, we talk about the times. Donovan Bailey is the world record holder, said it right here at the Olympic Games from Canada. Tony Volpentest runs the 100 meters in about a second and a half slower time, so he's right there if you want to talk about the parallel.
A real crowd pleaser.
He's a crowd pleaser, and everyone's going to watch him and wanted to see him break another world record. And we had a chance to talk to Tony Volpentest before his race, talking about gearing up for his pinnacle, the Paralympic Games.
I don't really feel like I've crossed a barrier or jumped a hurdle when I cross the finish line. I just feel like, okay, that's one more notch in the belt on the road to the ultimate goal. And you know, this is the ultimate goal right now. And when these games are over, then I'll start to focus on the next 4 years.
Well, Skip, here we are, the moment of truth, the 100 meters. Tony Volpentest is the world record holder. His time, 11.63, and an incredible story. Tony Volpentest, born without hands and feet, and now he's running with the best.
But he still learned to walk, Mike, at 18 months.
Tony Volpentest's chief rival, the 36-year-old Dennis Oler, the gold medalist in Seoul back in 1988. And there's Tony, propped up on those paint cans. Tony Volpentest looking for a good start.
Set.
Skip, doesn't look like a great start for Tony.
No, he's noted for his slow start, but watch him now.
Tony Volpentest striding. He has gold. Will he get the world record? Tony Volpentest, a new world record. His time, 11.36 seconds.
Here he's coming to his family. So supportive of him. The victory kiss here from his wife, Allison.
Tony Volpentest, always encouraged by his family ever since he was born. As you mentioned, Skip, walked at 18 months old. Now he's pulling the Michael Johnson.
Ah, yes. He's going to be the Michael Johnson of these Paralympics.
Tony Volpentest will go for the double. He wins gold and a world record in the 100 meters. We'll still see him in the 200. So let's take a look at the final results. Tony Volpentest, the gold medal. Australia takes silver and bronze. Neil Fuller and Bradley Thomas. Dennis Oler takes fourth place. Now to the men's 800-meter wheelchair race. That's American Scott Hollenbeck on the outside, battling it out with his chief rival, Jeffrey Adams.
The last 4 years, they've traded this world record 5 times. There's no love lost between these two.
Well, as we head down the home stretch, Skip, it looks like Adams, the Canadian, has the edge.
Scott's pushing hard, but I don't think he's going to get him here.
Jeffrey Adams, he's on the inside. He's looking strong. Hollenbeck trying to make a kick as we head to the wire. Jeffrey Adams wins the gold in a new Paralympic record time of 1:38.33. In a preliminary race, Jeffrey Adams said Scott Hollenbeck, who we know now who the gold medalist is Jeffrey Adams. Scott Hollenbeck, the silver.
We've not seen the last of these two, though. They're going to battle it out again.
So a look at the final standings. Scott Hollenbeck takes the silver. It's Jeffrey Adams again, a new Paralympic record time, 1:38.34. He's your gold medalist, and Mustafa Badid of France takes the bronze. And Skip, quite a story in the T34 through 36 cerebral palsy class. That's American Joseph Parker running third.
17-year-old high school senior from Goose Creek in South Carolina.
Parker, already a gold medalist and world record holder in the 5,000 meters. And look at him kick, Skip.
Listen to that crowd, Mike. They're really behind him.
They're driving him. Joseph Parker passes Andres Roble of Poland. Joseph Parker running for gold. It's Parker with gold and a new world record. What a games for Joseph Parker. A new world record. His time 2:09.67. And look at the emotion, Skip.
What a come from behind, and he deserved to hold that flag up to that crowd. Is he a happy camper?
Joseph Parker not coming in as one of the marquee athletes, but the crowd has really taken hold. Let's take a look at the final standings. Joseph Parker takes the gold. Andres Roble of Poland with the silver. And it's Algeria's Fawzi Belel with the bronze. Now we'll have more track and field action coming up a little bit later in the show. But up next, swimming, Dave Neal and Cynthia Potter standing by at the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center. Stay with Sports South, your host for the 1996 Paralympic Games.
If it's shot on Kodak film and printed on Kodak paper, we'll replace it for free. Introducing the Kodak Picture Guarantee.
I can't see my competition. I can't see the finish line. But I've never lost sight of where I'm headed.
Communication on any level helps us find our way in this world. Bell South, keeping you ahead of the game.
Give up? No, I definitely can't see doing that.
IBM kit drips.
I lost my leg when I was 9 years old.
Impossible
Something
is untried.
impossible is something untried.
I was born visually impaired.
Faith is a decision.
Is a decision.
I was born with cerebral palsy.
There are no hopeless bodies,
Only hopeless hearts.
So what's your excuse?
Swatch, official timekeeper, 96 Paralympic Games.
Do you think Spiro is still mad at us?
About the operation? I think he's forgiven us by now.
If it's shot on Kodak film and printed on Kodak paper, we'll replace it for free. Introducing the Kodak Picture Guarantee.
Welcome back to Sports South's continuing coverage of the 1996 Paralympic Games. We come to you from the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center, where competition has been, well, unbelievable. I am Dave Neal along with Cynthia Potter. And Cynthia, tonight we're going to have two swimmers that are looking for their second medals. Two of the most decorated U.S. swimmers, as a matter of fact, and Beth Scott and Tricia Zorn. And it should be quite an interesting evening.
Well, 22-year-old Beth Scott is going for her 9th gold medal. She was 7 for 7 in Barcelona. That means she won 7 gold medals, and she set 7 world records in the process. On the other hand, Tricia Zorn is going for her 41st gold medal. She is the most bemedaled Paralympian of all time, and Beth Scott has said that sometimes she feels like she's swimming in Tricia Zorn's shadow. Not a bad place to be.
Well, Tricia Zorn has already picked up 1 medal. She's looking for her 2nd. But for her, these medals are great, but there's a lot more to this competition than just getting to the gold medal stand.
We're all here for one thing, you know, and that's competition, and to show people that just because we do have a disability, you know, it's not the disability that we're about, it's the abilities that we do have, and that we can show it, you know, show people what we have. And if I can show one person, you know, who's visually impaired out there, or who is becoming blind, you know, and they can see something that I'm doing positive, that if I can help them in any way, that inspires me even more to go on and to do, you know, to push myself even farther.
And there's a look at your lane assignment for the women's 100-meter breaststroke in the category B2. for the visually impaired. Lane 3 is Trisha Zorn, Elaine Barrett 4, and Karina von Pavelda in lane 5. And speaking of Miss Zorn, there she is, the most decorated U.S. swimmer in the Paralympic Games history. A dominant force thus far, already one gold medal in this competition. She will be in lane 3.
In lane 4, representing
and next to her in lane 4 from Great Britain is Elaine Barrett.
European Championships, Elaine Barrett.
A strong candidate to pick up a medal here. And in lane 5, Cynthia, is the woman that everybody seems to be chasing down, Karina von Pavelda of Belgium.
She really knows how to bring it home in the 100-meter breaststroke, especially off that first wall in the second lap. Watch the cap with the flag, the Belgium flag in the middle of the pool. That is lane 5, the world record holder.
The world record time, 1:24.63. And it's a good start. Look in the middle of the pool, lanes 3, 4, and 5.
I like the start from Trisha Zorn best because she was underwater. She didn't pop up until she took a nice strong stroke underwater, although Karina von Pavelda also had a good start. And you see the race again developing in the middle of the pool, the 3 fastest swimmers. There is Trisha Zorn with the black cap, and we see Karina von Pavelda with the Belgium flag, the cap on the left of her, and Elaine Barrett in between the 2 of those swimmers. Now this is a visually impaired race, so what we want to recognize is this tapper there. Elaine Barrett got tapped on the top of the head. Some of the swimmers call that a bonker. That is to let the swimmers know when the side of the pool is coming up. That is allowed in the visually impaired races. Now we see Pavelda, the world record holder, pulling up on Trisha Zorn.
Pavelda, Belgium.
At the top of your screen is Trisha Zorn. In the middle of your screen will be Elaine Barrett. You can barely see her hands there, but Trisha Zorn in second place right now.
Trisha Zorn fading a little bit. This is not a stroke that she trains. Her favorite strokes are butterfly and freestyle. And we're seeing Elaine Barrett also pull up on Trisha Zorn.
Trying to hold him off.
It's a race for second at the moment. Looks like Karina von Pavelda has the race won. And there goes Elaine Barrett by Trisha Zorn.
It's going to be close. Karina von Pavelda.
And Karina von Pavelda will take home the gold medal, but a fine race from Trisha Zorn. Although she will not pick up her 41st gold medal, she does pick up yet another piece of hardware as she unofficially comes in 3rd place. But a nice race all the way around, an exciting finish with Karina von Pavelda of Belgium taking the gold. And there is Barrett and Zorn congratulating each other. And there's a look at your final standing. Karina von Pavelda with the gold medal. It's now time for the women's 100-meter breaststroke in the category B3, another division of the visually impaired. In lane 3, Beth Scott from the United States, and next to her, Mary Claire Ross. Those are 2 great swimmers, and there is Beth Scott. She already has 1 gold medal to her credit, looking for a 2nd in these 1996 Paralympic Games. But in lane 4, it's Mary Claire Ross of Canada. She is the trendsetter in this event, if you will.
Her world record in a time of 1:22.39 was set earlier this year. She also won the gold medal in this event at the 1994 World Championship. She is definitely the breaststroker to watch. And Beth Scott in lane 3 does not train a lot of breaststroke. Don't forget in lane 7 at the bottom of the screen, Daniela Henke. She is ranked 2nd in the world in this event.
It's a good start. On the lower left of your screen moments ago, you saw a world record time of 1:17.14. That is incorrect. The world record time that these swimmers will be gunning for is 1:22.39, set by Mary Claire Ross, who's in lane 4.
And it was a terrific beginning for Mary Claire Ross, who we're seeing with the maple leaf on her cap right there in the middle of the pool, and also at the bottom of the screen, not in sight at this moment, coming in there, Daniela Henke. She had a terrific start. She has a higher speed turnover than either Mary Claire Ross or Beth Scott. She is just ahead of Beth Scott as she makes the turn. There is Mary Claire Ross, stroking very evenly, looking very relaxed.
Very near her world record
stretching out in the breaststroke.
Lane 7.
Requires so much coordination with that frog kick and the stretch out in the arms.
Henke with a strong back.
Commanding lead by Mary Claire Ross in the middle of the pool.
Mary Claire Ross
And it looks like in second place at the bottom of the screen is Daniela Henke, just ahead of Beth Scott from the United States. Daniela Henke from Germany.
Beth Scott. It will be Mary Claire Ross with an easy victory. Daniela Henke of Germany will come in second, and a bronze medal will go to Beth Scott of the United States.
And it's another world record. Mary Claire Ross sets a world record. She owned the last one, and she sets a new one in this event today.
120.45 for Mary Claire Ross. She improves on her own record set earlier this year, and a nice moment there as Mary Claire Ross and Beth Scott of the United States give each other a congratulatory hug.
Now you see Mary Claire Ross stroking into the finish. Her timing is very good. Look, she stretches out as she hits the wall. She has that time perfectly. That's exactly the way breaststrokers want to hit the wall, just as they take that last stroke.
So it's another bronze medal for the United States. This time it is Beth Scott, but a world record goes to Mary Claire Ross of Canada with a new time of 120.45. Earlier, we had an opportunity to see Jason Winning of the United States in the men's 400-meter freestyle in the category S8 division, and, well, he put on quite a show for the American audience.
Interestingly enough, before he made this last turn, he was able to see both of his competitors in lane 3 and 4 beside him, and he could tell how far out in front he was. He is a distance swimmer. He knows how to pace himself very well, and he knows that he's swimming a good pace right now, although he is not looking at his competitors as he breathes to the right side, coming home on this last lap. But he is on world record and Paralympic record pace as he comes into the wall in this final lap.
Jason Winning, the current world record holder with a time of 4:52.46, beats it with a time of 4:49.87. A lot of records have been set, and we had a chance to ask him about that after his race.
Well, it's a very fast pull. It's an excellent pull. And a lot of it just has to do with the increasing population that's involved in the Paralympics as athletes. And that as that population increases, and we start pushing each other more and more, the times are going to continue to fall dramatically because we're becoming more and more real, true athletes instead of recreational athletes.
Well, congratulations to Jason Winning on his world record time in the men's 400-meter freestyle category S8. 4:49.87 is the new mark for which he set tonight. It was a good night in the pool for the United States swimmers, but that will do it from the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center. When we come back, Sports South will continue its coverage of the 1996 Paralympic Games.
Miller Lite NFL Football Handbook is back. All the schedules, all the stars, all the stats. Store it free when you buy specially marked packs of Miller Lite, where you see this display. Get the Miller Lite. Get the book. Life is good.
Where do you get the best paint money can buy?
Where to get it? Where to get it?
At Sherwin-Williams, where you'll also get thousands of wallpaper patterns with a low price guarantee.
Where to get it?
Right now, save $5 a gallon on Classic 99 interior paint and $5 a gallon on A100 exterior paint.
Where to get it? Where to get it?
There's only one paint this good and only one place to get it.
Sherwin-Williams. Where to get it?
TJ and I were just walking through the park, and out of nowhere, a little boy comes up to me and says, "Can I have your autograph?" I looked around and said, "Me? Why me?" He says, "Well, my dad and I were in the restaurant the other day, and you're a Hooters girl." I love my job. You know, Hooters has provided me the opportunity to pursue my education in broadcast journalism. One day, Tom Brokaw, I'm gonna have your job. And TJ, he never has to worry about where his next bone's coming from. Come see me at Hooters.
Hi, I'm Susanna Bianco.
And I'm Jill Savory, and we are gold medalists in the synchronized swimming competition. And we'd just like to say good luck to everybody at the Paralympics. Go for it and have a great time.
You guys are incredible athletes, and we want to just make sure that you have fun at this Games because this is for you.
Welcome back to Sports South's coverage of the 10th Paralympiad. I'm Mike Galanos, joined once again by David Kiley. And David, The U.S. women's basketball team looks strong. They beat Germany, then they crushed Brazil 57-12. Do you think heading into the game with Australia they were a little overconfident?
I think they came out of the gate strong, and I think they were prepared for a tough contest and that they were really playing to win. The first half was a good example of how well the Lady Hoopsters could play together. The second half was a totally different story. They must have come out of the locker room thinking that this game is we're gonna double our score and cruise into the medal round. That didn't occur. Australia came out with a defensive strategy that didn't allow their people to get close to the basket. They had to rely on the outside shot, and it wasn't dropping, and they ended up losing the contest.
Well, David, coming into this one, Australia probably thought all they had was a prayer's chance to beat the Americans, especially down 21-16 at the half. But in the second half, the Aussies really turned it up a notch.
That's right, Mike. The U.S. team just could not get their engines firing. They were totally ineffective in their ability to score, and it transcended to defense. And then, they couldn't keep control of the ball. They had one turnover after another. The Aussies played some very rough physical defense.
Hence the score in the second half. The U.S. outscored 15-6. How surprising is that for the Americans to score 6 second-half points?
Well, any U.S. team is not going to take kindly to 6 points in one half. That's an embarrassing moment. The U.S. team cannot afford to have a lapse like this in this next medal round. There is a do-or-die situation coming up, and they're going to have to respond.
The Aussies look good offensively, but really the story was defense. How did they shut down the Americans? Again, it was just looked like a physical brand of ball.
They played a really rough game, the Australians did, in terms of defense. They shut down the U.S. in the middle, forced them to the outside. The U.S. took one bad shot after another while the Australians capitalized, making their shots.
The Australian team, here comes an easy bucket here, and they win this one, surprisingly, 31-27. But the U.S. does advance to the medal round into the Final Four. They will meet the Netherlands and Australia. Surprisingly, again, they meet Canada. Because of the Americans losing, Germany is out, so the Final Four is set. So, David, maybe a wake-up call for the women as they still head toward gold. Now, it's the men looking strong. They're now 3-0. They beat Sweden 92-49, and the same duo did it again. Trooper Johnson, 24 points, 5 threes. Reggie Colton, 26 points, 14 boards on 10 of 14 shooting. Is there a better 1-2 punch in this tournament?
I don't believe so. These two guys are shaping up to be the 1-2 punch of the tournament. The rest of the world is going to have to be able to figure out a way to contend with the awesome firepower of these two players. Don't get me wrong, the U.S. team is 12 players deep, and they're certainly helping these two other guys, but Reggie and Trooper are definitely the two men to stop. And they're going to have to be on as they have a tough test taking on the Netherlands, the defending gold medalists from Barcelona. There's got to be a little extra something they're going to have for the Netherlands, the Dutch team, a little rivalry brewing here. Absolutely. The U.S. team won the gold medal in 1992. It was taken away in the courts by an infraction and given to the Dutch players. There's 5 members of this U.S. team that were from Barcelona. They believe that gold is theirs. So there's no animosity towards the Dutch players, but let me tell you, they think that gold is theirs, and I believe they're right. So a message game coming up, the U.S. versus the Netherlands. David, thanks again. We'll talk to you a little bit later in the show. But coming up next, the youngest competitor in the Paralympic Games, Leanne Shannon, going for gold. We'll have her run coming up. Stay with Sports South.
I see you sitting there, nice and cozy. That's right. I see you sitting there watching your TV on your soft, comfortable couch. You got no plans to move for the rest of the day. You got your feet up, you got your chips, you got your cold beer. Hey, have you got any water?
Scott Hollenbeck didn't make it to Atlanta by just sitting there. That's why we're proud to sponsor the 1996 Paralympic Games and all the Sunrise athletes, like Scott.
Oh, really? Have you got any water?
Communication is the link that ties us all together. these Paralympic Games, you'll find some of the most high-tech communications and some of the simplest. Bell South, keeping you ahead of the game.
Your sister said the Accord is the #1 retail selling car in America. I'm going to wait, you said. Your uncle said 3 Accord models were each named a best overall value in their class. I'm in no rush, you said. Then you made your move, the Honda 96 clearance. Your mother said, he's definitely got my brains. Timing is everything at your Honda dealer.
The paint, Sherwin-Williams Everclean. The perpetrator, Little Johnny Mac. The evidence, Stickman. When you paint your walls with Sherwin-Williams Everclean, you don't have to scrub the paint off to get the stain off. Everclean is a truly washable flat latex, so easy to clean, it'll floor you.
Johnny, have you been drawing on the floor again?
Sherwin-Williams. Where to get it?
Welcome back to Sports South in the 10th Paralympiad. I'm Mike Galanos, joined once again by our track guru, Skip Wilkins. And Skip, the youngest competitor in these games, really treating competition like a seasoned vet.
That's right, Mike. We've got 13-year-old Leanne Shannon. She's here. She's going to be featured in these Paralympics racing 5 events. But tonight, we're going to feature in the 100-meter and the 800-meter.
Well, Skip, we begin with Leanne Shannon's race for gold in the 100 meters. Leanne, the world record holder, you see her time, 16.79. She set that in a prelim, so she's ready to go.
She sure did, and look for that record to go again. Look at that concentration.
The intensity on her face. She's 13 years old. The key, a good start.
She gets a fabulous start, Mike.
Look at Leanne Shannon already blowing away the field, so it looks like gold is in hand. It's just a matter of whether or not she sets the world record.
She's concentrating, focused. She's not missing a stroke.
Not missing a stroke. Leanne Shannon going for the world record, and Leanne Shannon has it. A new world record in the 100 meters, 16.62 seconds.
Not only that, Mike, she's a half a second ahead of Gray, the silver medalist.
So really it was Leanne Shannon against the clock, and Leanne Shannon wins. Here are the final results. Leanne Shannon, again, a brand new world record, 16.62 seconds. Great Britain's Tanny Gray takes the silver at 17.18, an eternity behind Leanne Shannon. And coming in third, Colette Bourguignon of Canada. We'll skip the same combo in the 800 meters. Leanne Shannon on the outside against Tanny Gray, and strategy playing a key role here.
Yep, she's trying right now for her positioning. She's looking over her shoulder. She's warning Gray to move ahead of her. Gray's having no part of that.
So really, Skip, it looks like the Paralympic lesson for the 13-year-old is Leanne Shannon. Really, at this point, you don't want the lead, do you?
No, she is not in the position she wants to be. She knows that Gray is moving in behind her now. She can hear the strokes that she's taking to the ones that Gray is.
Yes, Skip, as you see Tanny Gray just conserving so much energy, and as we pick it up down the stretch, Leanne Shannon, she just doesn't have it. She's pooped.
This is racing experience right here. She's setting herself up. She's now going to move around. They're coming into the turn where she wants to take the slingshot position. And now you can see the results.
And Tanny Gray blows right by Leanne Shannon. Now it's Tanny Gray thinking about a world record. Tanny Gray, the world record holder, and she sets a new world record, 155.11. So these two developing quite a rivalry. It's Leanne Shannon with the gold in the 100 and a world record. Tanny Gray, gold and a world record in the 800 meters. Leanne Shannon takes the silver medal, and the Americans go silver bronze in this as Ann Walters takes the bronze with a time of 2:02.41. When we return on Sports South, we will hear from the lady who's taken home the hardware. 13-year-old Leanne Shannon, already a gold and a silver medalist. Her interview when we come back.
Now, Cornerstone Promotions presents the Bellamy Brothers. Here are 24 of their greatest hits.
If I said you have a beautiful body, would you hold it against me? Dancing cowboy, singing horse, I need more of you.
All of your favorite songs in one great collection.
Honey, do you love as good as you love? What you need to show
24 Bellamy Brothers hits on 2 cassettes or 2 compact discs. Here's how to order.
To order the Bellamy Brothers for only $14.98 for 2 cassettes or $19.98 for 2 CDs, plus $4.50 shipping. Have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-533-1400. Call from the U.S. or Canada.
Winston Cup champion Jeff Gordon has got the race circuit eyeing his title. And when you're the king, everybody wants to take you down. Find out who's got this shot to be the man in NASCAR on This Week in NASCAR. Live every Thursday night.
Welcome back to Sports South's coverage of the 1996 Paralympic Games. I'm Mike Galanos, joined once again by Skip Wilkins, and the youngest competitor in these Paralympic Games, 13-year-old Leanne Shannon, and Leanne is already cleaning up. A world record in the 100-meter wheelchair race and a silver in the 800. Leanne, 13 years old, and you're already putting on a show before the world. How do you feel so far?
I feel great. It was awesome being up there on the top of the medal stand, getting a gold medal and hearing the national anthem played. And the 800 went well too. I got a silver and I'm happy with my performance.
How's the pressure for you, Leanne, coming into these Paralympics?
Well, there's a lot of pressure, and I'm having fun too. I'm enjoying myself while I'm here, racing, the competition, all the races. It's been a lot of fun.
Great.
When you talk about the pressure when the opening ceremonies were going, did it ever just hit you? It's like, wow, you know, I've been training, this is it, you know?
Well, when we came in for opening ceremonies, it was great. We marched over from Fulton County, and it took a while, but when we got in, everybody started cheering when they said the United States of America, and everybody just went wild, and it was awesome being on home turf and having everybody cheer for you the most.
This is your first Paralympics, though, and you're having fun, you say. We notice your cap and you're loaded up with pins. How's that action going for you?
Well, I'm a big pin trader. I hit up all the countries when we're in lunch and dinner and breakfast, and it's like, you want to trade pins? And they gave us a whole bunch of U.S. pins to trade when we went to processing. So I've already spent all those up, and I'm hoping people will give me free pins now.
She's picking up pin alert out there for us.
Exactly, not only cleaning up in pins, but medals, and you're not finished. I mean, you stop and think, 5 events already. The 100's done, 800 still coming up, 200, 400, 1,500 meters. Are you getting tired yet? I mean, with how are you feeling so far?
I feel great, and I'm not tired at all, but I just hope to do really well in all my other events.
The excitement of this morning, though, and that gold medal, happened to be down there with you, seeing that flag raise, the anthem play, and then you have to come off of that high and you come back and you run a race again tonight for those 800 meters. Is it hard getting up and down for that and emotionally for that kind of race for this evening?
Well, not really. It was nice being up on the top, but second isn't that bad.
Oh,
so.
no. You look good up there.
With the events you have remaining, 200, 1,500, 400 meters, any of those you're better than the next? Of those 3 different events still coming up?
Well, I'm hoping to do well in the 200 and the 400 and the 1,500. And my prime events for taking a gold medal would probably be the 2 and the 4, but I'm going to try just as hard in the 15 going up against the T4s too.
Leanne, when you're not in training and dressed and collecting pins and such, back home you're even involved, though, in helping in peer counseling, not only in your school, but in the rehabilitation center. You're going out and you're spreading the word about not only disabled sports, but just more positive approach to being who you are and doing the best you can anyway in life, aren't you?
Yes, I do peer counseling at Genesis Rehabilitation Center in Jacksonville, Florida. And I'm also a peer advocate at my school.
You think they're cheering you on there?
Yeah, I hope so.
Already, gold and silver for Leanne Shannon, a world record in the 100 meters. Thanks again, Leanne, and good luck the rest of the way. I'm sure we'll be talking to you as these Paralympic Games wind down.
Thank you.
Thanks again. All right, Leanne Shannon joining us. And Skip, incredible. We have a second with Leanne with us. Incredible performance so far from Leanne.
Oh, absolutely incredible. I was down there when she got the award, and she is just a crowd pleaser. They love her. She's coming around that track. I mean, concentrating and the intensity of it, and yet every once in a while this little gleam in her eyes shows, and they're loving her. She's a crowd pleaser.
All right, Leanne, thanks again, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again. 3 more events to shoot for gold. And when we come back, we'll take a look at a different sport, a very interesting sport played by the visually impaired, goalball. That's coming up next on Sports South.
involved in a lot of charities and promotions. Yeah, we are. Hooters is also really involved in sports like football and golf and racing. I guess we really are America's cheerleaders. Some of my best friends are the girls I work with. Oh, thanks. We always tell people we're just the girls next door. Trouble is, they always want to move into the neighborhood.
Your sister said the Accord is the #1 retail selling car in America. I'm going to wait, you said. Your uncle said 3 Accord models were each named a best overall value in their class. I'm in no rush, you said. Then you made your move, the Honda 96 clearance. Your mother said, he's definitely got my brains. Timing is everything at your Honda dealer.
Welcome back to Sports South and our coverage of the 1996 Paralympic Games. We'd like to tell you now about a sport that takes the reflexes of a linebacker. This sport is not basketball, it is goal ball. I don't know if you can hear the jingle, but 3 visually impaired athletes basically defend their goal. And as a running back tries to hit the hole, this ball tries to make it through the goal, and it's the job of those 3 athletes to stop that charge. Goal ball, an interesting sport that the fans really enjoy. For more on that, here's Dave Neal.
Team sports for the visually impaired are not all that common, but here at the Paralympics, there's a game that's as fun to watch as it is for the players. It's goal ball. And what is goal ball? Well, basically, you get 3 of your friends, cover your eyes, grab a basketball full of bells, and start winging it at each other. That's goal ball. The game was invented in 1946 and became a Paralympic sport in 1988. It's played by 3 players per side, 2 wings and a center, who wear opaque glasses that ensure no visual advantage for any players who aren't completely blind. The court is 9 meters wide with a goal spanning the entire width, and raised lines on the floor help orient the players. The ball is about the size of a basketball, but heavier and full of bells that help indicate the direction of the ball. 2 7-minute halves constitute a game, and, well, it looks a little like a human bowling alley. But it's a lot of fun to watch. And according to Daniel Fapiano of Team USA, it's great to have a team sport for visually impaired athletes.
It's the only team sport you can really play at this level for the blind, so I learned to like it. Throwing the ball as hard as you can, hitting somebody. You try not to hit them, you really want to score a goal, but at times you really rather hit them sometimes when you're angry.
Now, goal ball is one of the 3 sports that is a medal event, but not an Olympic event. But fans have really latched onto this sport. Goal ball was the first sport to sell out its venue. When we come back, we will wrap things up here on Sports South. You're watching the 1996 Paralympic Games.
Everybody sees things in a different light. New Kodak Advantix film and cameras with IX record light information in a whole new way to make automatic adjustments for backlight, indoor light, and flash. So your pictures can be the best you've ever taken in just about any light. Kodak's advanced photo system. Kodak Advantix. Take pictures further.
I can't see my competition. I can't see the finish line. But I've never lost sight of where I'm headed.
Communication on any level helps us find our way in this world. Bell South, keeping you ahead of the game.
Give up? No, I definitely can't see doing that.
Bukhona engikuzwayo lokunkekhethayo ngala. Kuyini kona lokho?
I-IBM kid drips.
Iliqhawe then.
Bell South is proud to present the 1996 Paralympic Games. Today's coverage is brought to you by Sunrise Medical, powered by the human spirit, and by Kodak. Take pictures further.
Welcome back to Sports South's continuing coverage of the 1996 Paralympic Games as we have moved our cameras just a few miles west of Olympic Stadium to Atlanta Metropolitan College. Hello, everybody. I am Dave Neal, and this is our first look at quad rugby, one of two exhibition sports here at the 96 Games. And while this sport is quickly becoming a fast-paced, high-energy fan favorite, now the U.S. scores a lot of points, and, well, they're one of the world's top-ranked teams. As a matter of fact, they're numero uno. And today they opened up competition against Sweden. Now, this sport has been around since 1977. Not very long, but it's quickly becoming a favorite amongst the fans and the players. Enough about me. Let's hear what the players have to say about their up-and-coming sport.
If you want to come out and see a full contact sport that's spoke bending, wheel smashing, and watching a bunch of guys knock each other on the floor, then that's a sport to come out and definitely see.
Well, what we saw today was the United States coming out and cruising and crashing their way to an impressive 8-point lead in the first quarter as Brad Updegrove scores, making it 14-6 after 8 minutes of play. The United States continued to put pressure on the Swedes, and with just over 2 minutes left in the second quarter, Cliff Chun would score, making it 21-9, and the U.S. would add 3 more before the break to lead at halftime 24-9.
I think we came out a little tight, but after we got those first hits in and got loosened up, we started to get in our context. It's really difficult because we've just been practicing amongst each other, and to come out, and that level of sharpness is going to be hard.
Defensively, the swarming United States was strong, keeping the Swedes from penetrating their offensive zone on numerous occasions. And as you know, the old sports adage goes, you win with defense. Well, the U.S. does it as well as anybody in the world. Now, late in the third quarter, the USA was setting some nice picks, and they score another goal. This time, it's David Gould, number 7. The USA would lead 29-13 after 24 of 32 minutes. After some more great USA defense, Cliff Chun is the recipient of a nice outlet pass, and he would go the distance, making the score 35-14, the United States. That would be the story of the day as the world's #1 team wins their opener 37-16 over Sweden.
I think we really picked it up and executed a lot of really good plays. We had very few turnovers, and we're really happy with our defense.
If we play our game and do what we're supposed to, and everyone does their job, then I think we'll be okay. I mean, I think we'll do well and hopefully represent our country good.
Well, the USA looked quite impressive in their opener, winning by 21 points, but there are 4 matches left in round-robin play. Then they head to the semifinals, and the USA looking to take home gold in their own backyard.
As the Paralympic flame burns high above the Centennial Olympic Stadium, we'd like to bring you now another installment of our Nations Bank Torch Relay.
As the flame left uptown Charlotte, it continued through North Carolina, then South Carolina before coming back home to Georgia. After 4 states and 100 cities, a local DJ trekked into Stone Mountain Park.
It was incredible. I just found out a little while ago I got to run the last leg, and I was so excited about it. I thought I was just going to run the next to last leg in, but to be able to run it into Stone Mountain and hand it to the mayor directly, what an honor this was. Tomorrow night's the opening ceremonies, and it's sold out. The biggest Paralympic Games in history. That's what we have in Atlanta, Georgia. You bet.
Like many stops on the 1996 Paralympic Torch Relay, a variety of activities were planned to put the spirit of the games into everyone's hearts. hot air balloon rides. The marching abominable band played. Clowns danced. Plenty of good food. And face painting for the kids was just some of the excitement accompanying the Paralympic torch relay. As the crowd dispersed Stone Mountain, the torch traveled on. Next stop, Olympic Stadium. Atlanta's Mayor Bill Campbell had this to say about the game's contribution to the city.
Atlanta has always been committed to providing fair and equal access to people, all people, including the disabled. We strive to be a city of inclusion. We're working to make our neighborhoods more user-friendly to people with disabilities, but rarely is a city given the opportunity, such as this, that we will have to make profound changes in the way that we interact with each other. The Paralympics have played a crucial role in how we view and design our city.
As the plane prepared to descend on Atlanta, the empty cauldron at Centennial Olympic Stadium awaits.
Well, as we wrap things up tonight, we're joined once again by David Kiley and Skip Wilkins. And David, we'll start with you. Just your impressions. We're about at the midway point of these games. How do you think things are going so far?
Well, Mike, it brings back some real vivid memories. Athletes after the gold medal, some of them accomplishing their goals and reaching the pinnacle of success with the gold medal. Others narrowly missing this finish.
And right about now, they're starting to complain about that food, and they're starting to complain about the transportation. But you know what? They're going to shift gears. They're going to concentrate on the remaining of their schedule, and you're going to see these gold medalists shift into gear, and you're going to see other things happen at the remainder of these games.
David, so far, is there one athlete that has really grabbed you that says, hey, that or this person really exemplifies this triumph of the human spirit?
Absolutely. Tony Volpentest is the premier athlete in my mind that has vaulted the Paralympic spirit and movement into the hearts of America. Coming that close to an Olympic record, minus 2 legs, is simply beyond comprehension to many of our viewers. But it happened here in Atlanta, and I'm proud to have witnessed it.
And we were all part of that.
Yes, indeed. Tony Volpentest. Now, speaking of Tony Volpentest, he will be on the show tomorrow night again, a world record in the 100 meters. Besides Tony Volpentest, we'll also have Tim Willis going for gold in the 1,500 meters. Tim Willis, the best blind distance runner in the United States. Skip will have a feature on table tennis. David will be covering Team USA, the men's team. Big game against the defending gold medalist from the Netherlands. We'll all have all that. Stick around. Stay with Sports South, your host for the 1996 Paralympic Games. For the entire Sports South crew, I'm Mike Galanos. Have a great night.
If you thought the Paralympic Games were a feel-good competition, think again. The intensity continues on Sports South. Good evening. Welcome once again to Sports South's continuing coverage of the 1996 Paralympic Games. I'm Mike Galanos, joined once again by Skip Wilkins. And Skip, we have it all tonight. We showed the viewers at the top of the show the ruthless quest for gold, some of the crashes out there, and really a wide range of emotions tonight.
We really do, Mike, and we've got one of the defining moments that truly exemplifies the spirit of these games, the triumph over human spirit.
We have that and also the rivalry theme. 13-year-old Leanne Shannon continuing her duel with Tanny Gray.
And 19-year-old starlet Sherry Becerra against Chantel Penteclair. They're going at it mighty strong.
All right, so we have all that, the rivalries, the crashes, the emotion, and we also have Scott Hollenbeck, one of the poster boys of these Paralympic Games, in action tonight. And some scary moments in Scott's semifinal heat. Check out the middle of the track. It's a three-chair pileup. Now you see Scott Hollenbeck in the Stars and Stripes and the blue helmet running second. He avoided the crash. Scott, as we said, running second behind Philippe Coupry of France. But the story of this race was the crash. Saul Mendoza of Mexico gets sideways right there. He knocks out 2 other racers, so 3 of the 9 racers did not finish. Scott Hollenbeck, though, does win the heat. He talked with our Skip Wilkins about the crash after the race.
It got tight. We were 4 wide coming out of that turn, and people were getting nervous because they were boxed.
How about the crash? You're nowhere near you?
It was right next to me. I had perfect hearing. I got a good shot of it.
You knew it was coming?
Camera, I could have made the, sports page.
Did you do anything special to avoid it?
When you see it, you hear the metal grind, and I heard the hand rings grinding, and I heard the and then I just cleared. I just hipped it out wide.
Okay.
So Scott Hollenbeck on to the final in the 1,500 meters. Now to the final of the women's T52 200 meters. 13-year-old Leanne Shannon battling her chief rival, Tanny Gray.
Sure is a chief rival here. They've traded off each other on the 100 and the 800, and the 200 here is going to set the tone.
Leanne Shannon off to a great start in the 200 meters. Now, as Skip alluded to, Leanne Shannon won the 100. Tanny Gray took silver in the 800. It was Gray with gold, Shannon with silver. But Skip, as Leanne Shannon comes around the curve, this one looks to be all Leanne Shannon.
All Leanne Shannon, and I do not think that Tammy has any way the strength to catch her on this one.
Tanny's coming on, but it's Leanne Shannon. Will she set a world record? Leanne Shannon with the gold medal. So it's gold, silver, gold for Shannon. A wind-aided world record time of 29.76. Skip, as we watch the 2 racers, really 2 contrasting styles here.
Yeah, the quickness of Leanne punching those rims, and yet the power of Tammy reaching back to pound those rims, but not enough to catch her here.
So the quickness of Leanne Shannon winning out here. She wins the sprint. Again, in a wind-aided world record time of 29.76 seconds, Tanny Gray the silver, and Canada's Colette Bourgonnier the bronze. And with 2 races to go, Leanne Shannon is just getting warm.
I hope to get at least 1 gold, and now I've gotten 2 golds, and, well, I guess it's made me greedy. I want to go for more golds.
All right, more track and field coming up a little bit later in the show. We also have basketball. Team USA, the men, taking on Canada. But right now, let's check out some swimming and head to the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center.
Thanks, Dave Neal, along with Cynthia Potter. We are still at the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center, probably still one of the, perhaps the most intriguing venues here during the 1996 Paralympic Games, because records are being set left and right. 40 to date thus far, probably more tonight as we see some sprints coming our way. And Cynthia, your thoughts on all these records being broken?
The athletes love swimming in this pool. There's a couple of reasons. No wave gutters and lane lines, a deep bottom that is adjustable, and when it goes up, it's a different color so they can tell where the turns are. The crowd also is a factor.
The sprints, the 100-meter freestyle, the 100-meter backstroke, all that coming your way a little bit later on Sports South's coverage of the 1996 Paralympic Games.
Bell South is proud to present the 1996 Paralympic Games. Today's coverage is brought to you by IBM, worldwide Olympic sponsor of the 1996 Paralympic Games, and by Kodak.
Like a Sports South coverage of the 1996 Paralympic Games. Dave Neal alongside David Kiley. We are at the Omni for Team USA as they take on Canada in a quarterfinal game. Right now, it's USA leading 20-15 over the Canadians. Make that 22-15 as Chuck Gill gets the layup off the glass. And David Kiley, it's a little bit different than what we saw yesterday as the USA trailed after 1/2 of play against the Dutch and looked pretty bad in doing so. But today, a little bit different story.
That's right, Dave. The U.S. finally getting off to a good start in a ball game. They have been winning ugly, basically, as we've gone through these games, relying on the outside shot primarily. I'm looking for the U.S. to really step up a notch on their inside game and their ability to handle the ball.
There's a turnover by the U.S. And Joey Johnson gets the bucket and the foul. The big man for the Canadians in the paint will now go to the free throw line.
Joe Johnson is one of the newer players for Canada, one of the younger players for Canada. As you can see, he's got plenty of muscle, and he's had a fine game so far.
Schwenke with the turnover for Team USA. And there's Big Johnson in the middle.
That's just too big of a mismatch there. Obviously, Mark Shepard got rubbed off on the wrong man and found himself on a switch where he just did not want to be.
Trooper Johnson steps in and hacks him on the wrist. But the USA here as a quality team, they're 12 deep, as you and I have talked about previously, but they have a nice inside-outside game. But in wheelchair basketball, what kind of combination would be the ultimate if you were a coach? What would you want on the floor?
You want the floor spread, Dave, and you want to expose the defense and spread them out, try to get them out of the paint. Ultimately, you would like to see a pick and roll happen where a low forward's coming up to set a pick for the guard. The guard is then looking for the forward rolling to the basket for an easy deuce.
Well, the pick and roll, the foundation of much of today's basketball strategy. Defensively, when you talk about wheelchair basketball, zones, man-to-man, what kind of defense can you play? Is the zone legal?
Yeah, it's definitely a legal way to play defense, and all these teams are going to go back and forth from a man into various types of zones. The object is really to deny the position and to keep somebody on your back away from the basket.
We see a lot of banging going on, especially in the paint area. To what extent will they allow that to not impede play?
Well, the chair is such an important part of this game, but it's certainly considered part of your body. So when you're inside and you're bumping and grinding, it's considered part of you. A certain amount of that contact is going to be allowed, but when it gets to the point of, oh yeah, my man Trooper Johnson putting up another three-pointer.
Well, Trooper Johnson leading the tournament in three-point field goals gives the United States a 6-point lead, 25-19. The USA leads this tournament as a team in field goal percentage. Darrell Waller, the big man down low, leads the tournament in two-point field goals, shooting over 70%. And the Canadians get a nice jump shot from the corner, making it a 4-point basketball game. Every time Team USA thinks about pulling away, Canada steps right back in.
That's the nature of this game. The U.S. looks like they're going to just pull away, and then Canada comes right back.
Here's Waller on the low block. His shot doesn't fall. Rebound to Johnson and Canada.
Darrell is just having a tough time today. He's getting the good shots, the good looks, but the ball is just not going down for him.
Canada is the last team to actually beat the USA on the floor. That occurred at the World Championships back in 1991, just to show you how impressive this Team USA is.
I hate to say it, but I was on that team that day, and that was a very disappointing day in U.S. basketball.
And there is a foul on the floor, and with that, we will step aside. The USA is leading in first half action. Back in a moment.
Sports South, grinding out a fall sports lineup that rocks in September. College football exploded.
And quarterfinal action, 25-21. And David, so far, a decent display for this Team USA basketball club.
I think so. I know this team can play much, much better. And when they do, and I'm hoping that they're building that momentum towards these final rounds, that you better watch out, because this is an awesome team with a lot of firepower. And if it clicks on all cylinders, there's not a team that can play with them.
Trooper Johnson just inside the three-point arc. Gets that bucket to fall, and the USA now leads 27-21 over the Canadians. Trooper Johnson once again from the outside, a key for this USA club.
There is not a better shooter from the outside in wheelchair basketball in the world than Trooper Johnson.
No basket. The official waved it off. Big Joe Johnson down inside, hacked by Waller, but Johnson will go to the free throw line for a pair, but here's Trooper Johnson.
Good follow through, nice rotation on that shot. Concentration, because he had just run into that player after letting go of the ball, but keeping his eyes on the basket, and he saw nothing but net.
You know, watching Trooper shoot that, his momentum was carrying him to the basket. Is that a difficult shot to kind of, a lot of practice needs to get that, because you're changing, you know, it's not a 20-footer. As you're rolling, it becomes a 16-footer.
Well, that's true. Actually, the roll for most of us who play from the wheelchair helps the momentum of the shot. It gives you a little extra distance on the shot as well. But Trooper's work ethic is what makes him the scorer that he is. He combines all these situations with the chair moving, sitting stationary, and practice is what gets it done for him.
There's a good shot of Joe Johnson with 8 points as he sits on his chair. We notice that the wheels are a little angled right there. A reason behind that?
Certainly. That's called camber. Every player in the game is going to have camber in his wheelchair so that he can spin much faster and be more mobile. 2, side to side. The chair is not going to tip over from side to side with a wide wheelbase. And 3, probably most importantly, is that the contact of the wheels is happening down below, and you're not having your fingers smashed at the top where the wheels would be hitting if they were straight.
And that's always a good thing. USA inside. Chuck Gill with a nice bucket. The recipient of a nice pass, and Gill gets 2 more points for Team USA.
Chuck has a real passion for the game. You'll see him smiling out there. He loves it. He's having a good time, and I think that's why he's having such a good game. He just knows how to have a good time out there.
29-21. And there's a charge called against the Canadians. You know, we see a lot of discrepancy in the size of the seats for a lot of these guys. Is that based on their positions?
Absolutely. If you're a guard, you're going to be sitting very low in the pocket, so to speak. You're going to be more mobile. You're going to have to turn a lot and maneuver. When you're a big man, you're sitting at a maximum height of 21 inches off the floor. That's the legal limit. And if you're a big man like Tree Waller, you're sitting at the max because you're trying to get every inch that you can to be up there in the trees, so to speak.
Craig Shoemake with a nice jump shot in the paint, gets the USA another bucket, and they continue to roll. They now lead by 10 over Canada, 31-21. Time ticking out here in the first half.
U.S. starting to cruise. Like to extend this lead if they can.
Well, Canada turns the basketball over, giving the USA another opportunity to score right before halftime. Not a bad effort from Team USA, but there's another dream team of sorts here in Atlanta for the 1996 Paralympic Games, and it's the female version. It's Team USA, women's style. We caught up with them earlier today in action against the Netherlands. Team USA's hopes for a gold medal were dashed as they took on the Netherlands in quarterfinal action. And the Team USA came in as the #1 seed out of their pool with a record of 2-1 in pool play. The Netherlands, the #2 seed out of their pool. But, boy, it was a disappointing start for the Team USA, trailing 8-2 right out of the gates.
That's right, Dave. The U.S. team defensively just could not stop Holland when they needed to. They could never close the door in this game. They tried to come back a number of times and could only get close, and then Holland would break away with an easy basket.
And there is a perfect example of that. The United States did have some moments offensively to close the gap in the second half. But Sharon Herbst here had 11 points for Team USA, but once again, it was poor defense by the ladies that really was their downfall in this, as the USA trails by 6 in the second half.
Shooting 27% for the game also hurt the Lady Hoopsters. They had many opportunities late in the game to send them into the gold medal round, but just could not get that ball in the hoop.
USA loses by 3, 40-37. No gold medal in 1996. Meanwhile, the men looking impressive in their quarterfinal game against Canada, leading by 10 as we approach the end of the first half. David, your thoughts about Team USA in the first 20 minutes?
Well, a good outside game and an average inside game has got them with a 10-point lead at this point.
USA, a nice inside-outside game. They lead 31-21 as time ticks down here. And a nice first half for Team USA as they played some solid basketball. Well, we will have more basketball for you later in the show, but right now it's time to check in with Mike Alanos, who has more on these 1996 Paralympic Games.
Thanks, Dave. From halftime to double time, cycling at Stone Mountain Park, the 20K mixed division 3 race, close race. Great Britain's Thomas Evans, American Daniel Nicholson, and Canada's Gary Longheat battling it out. Longheat drops off. So really it comes down to Nicholson, who's on the inside, and Evans on the outside. They really get after it, and Evans was not going to be denied. That's Evans in the blue. Watch him try and make his move here. A gruesome wreck. Evans was unconscious and taken to the hospital. He suffered cuts and abrasions, but was released from the hospital and scheduled to race again, although he did not start that race. So it's American Daniel Nicholson taking the gold. His time, 34 minutes, 58 seconds. He'd already won a silver in the 5,000 meters. Now to the 20K bike road mixed division 4 final. Peter Oman of Australia with the lead. His fellow countryman Christopher Scott and American Lawrence Schultz close and charging. Now Oman's a 37-year-old. He has congenital cerebral palsy. His cycling role model, the retired Greg LeMond. Now, Peter Oman is the world record holder in the 20K. He's also the defending world champion. And there you can see him striding strong, the explosive calf muscles leading the way. American Lawrence Schultz tried to make a charge but couldn't do it. Oman is the winner. His time 31 minutes and 5 seconds. And there's the American Lawrence Schultz. He takes the bronze. His time 33 minutes and 36 seconds. When we come back, more track and field action. And we will take a look back at the opening ceremonies when one of the most recognizable Paralympians in history, Al Mead, carried the torch. Stay with Sports South, hosts of the 1996 Paralympic Games.
The referee already blowing up.
Just back from helping Atlanta police during the Olympic Games, and now helping us with our coverage of the Paralympics. That blimp, you know, we reel off numbers all the time. 200 feet long, 67 feet high, and when you're that big, well, you're not going to go that fast, but a solid clip at 60 miles an hour. Now, speaking of speed, for the first time in these Paralympic Games, the mentally handicapped, or the new title, the intellectually challenged, are competing in these games. We have the men's 200 meters. The world record holder, Nigel Bourne, is in lane 6. He's from Great Britain. The best American hope, Tico Clausen, lane 3. And off to a good start for the Americans is Wardell Gatson. He's in lane 7. You can see him at the top of your screen. But on the inside in lane 3, keep your eye on American Tico Clausen. So Clausen's battling 2 Brits, Bourne and Kenny Colane. It's a 3-man race. Bourne on the outside, Clausen on the inside. The world record holder, Nigel Bourne, with the gold. Tico Clausen of the United States, the silver, and it is a new world record. The time, 22.20 seconds. So Nigel Bourne breaks his old record. He takes the gold. Tico Clausen with the silver, and Kenny Colane of Great Britain with the bronze. Now for the men's 200-meter T34-35 class. Those suffering from cerebral palsy with slight balance problems. Skip, the man to watch is the American in lane 5, Freeman Register the 4th.
And Mike, he's the defending Paralympic champion from Barcelona in the 100-meter. Took the silver in this race.
Also a bronze medalist in 96 in the 100 meters, and a lot of racers in contention as they come around the curve. But keep your eyes on lanes 4, 5, and 6. In lane 4, that's Fernando Gomez. Lane 5, Freeman Register. Lane 6, Kim Du. And it's really come down now to Gomez against Register, and it is Freeman Register the 4th taking the gold medal. Fernando Gomez, a game effort. He gets silver. Kim Du, the bronze. Skip, that one of the tightest races we've seen so far.
Really is, Mike, but he held on, fighting down that home stretch, working with that balance problem. He holds on to take it.
So it's Freeman Register the 4th taking gold. His time 26.96 seconds, just 0.14 of a second off the world record. Fernando Gomez of Spain, the silver. Kim Du of Korea takes the bronze. Moving on now, Skip, to the men's T52 100-meter wheelchair race. American Matthew Perry in lane 5. He is the one to watch, and also this man, John Lindsay, the world record holder from Australia. We even have a 2-sports star in this one, Skip. American Chris Waddell.
Yeah, he's a 4-time Winter Paralympian, Mike, a 4-time gold medalist in skiing.
Yes, Skip, Chris Waddell was paralyzed in a skiing accident back in 1988, waited 2 months, and he enrolled back in school, and he's been fighting it hard ever since. Waddell not really a medal contender in this race. For the medals, keep your eye on the middle of the track. John Lindsay, that's John Lindsay in lane 4. Yasuhiro Une of Japan in lane 3 right next to him, and that's the American Matthew Perry in lane 5. But it's John Lindsay, the world record holder, with gold, Une the silver, and Perry with the bronze. Skip, John Lindsay just really ran out and hid from everybody.
He was really punching those rims, pounding it down, crossing that finish line. Never anyone was in contention in this race.
There you see John Lindsay. Really, he already had the lead, and he pulled away even further from American Matthew Perry in lane 5. And Yasuhiro Une just edges Perry for the silver medal. So as we see him cross the finish line, let's take a look at the times. Lindsay off his world record, but still good enough for gold. His time, 15.22 seconds. Une with the silver, and Matthew Perry with the bronze. Each night we've been featuring a segment of the Paralympic Torch Relay, an event made possible by the support of Nations Bank. We pick up the torch in Centennial Olympic Stadium on the night of opening ceremonies. Al Mead was one of the torch bearers. He described that unforgettable night.
Carrying that torch was like no other feeling. And you know, I did it in rehearsal, and that was even a rush. But when I actually did it with a crowd full of people, a stadium full of people, running up them steps were the most amazing track that I have ever been on. The surprise factor, I think, is really what caught people off guard, that got them very enthused and excited. It was at the end of the ceremony, and it was the much anticipated event. And when I got the duty to run up those steps, actually I think I was hopping because I was skipping 2 or 3 or 4 steps at a time. I think a lot of that momentum was because of excitement. This flame represents what this whole movement is about, from its inception and from the eternal flame of Dr. Martin Luther King, and then to finally reach its destination and me to be next to the last leg to do that and pass it off to Mark Wellman, who did such a spectacular job in lighting the cauldron. I thought that it was great being a part of this, this history of the Paralympic movement.
Anybody can tell you who won and who lost. But only one source of sports news can bring you every detail of the game. So if you want to know the score from the first pitch to the final buzzer, subscribe to the AJC. And don't miss a moment.
It comes around once a year, and it's a very special event, but it isn't your anniversary. It's Toyota's nationwide clearance event. Come into your Toyota dealer now and get a low lease rate of $199 a month on Camry. $199 a month for the best car built in America. Or buy Camry and treat yourself to a great option package and factory incentives and save up to $1,500. Like an anniversary, this event is very special, but these offers won't last forever. Visit your Toyota dealer today.
After this season, the Braves will be leaving Atlanta Fulton County Stadium with memories of home runs and championships. But some will be taking with them a little bit more.
Smoltzy, what are you doing here? Bobby, I'm not leaving without my lucky dirt.
Order an authentic piece of the Braves pitcher's mound for only $4.99 at any participating Pizza Hut, the home of the Braves.
Magic, I tell you. Just keep digging.
Pizza Hut. You'll love the stuff we're made of.
Don't forget, there are still plenty of tickets available for the exciting closing ceremonies. The star-studded celebration begins at 8:30 Sunday night and will feature the architects of American rock and roll, Bo Diddley, the Four Tops, Chubby Checker, and Jerry Lee Lewis. For ticket information, call 404-249-6400. But before you think about the closing ceremonies, it's time to close out an issue between two very competitive racers. 19-year-old American Sherry Becerra and her Canadian adversary, Chantal Petitclerc. I'm joined again by Skip Wilkins. And Skip, this is one hot rivalry.
Boy, it sure is, Mike. Petitclerc took her about 4/100ths of a second in the 100 meters. Sherry was quite upset on that race. But you know, back home, her native Omaha Indian tribe is rooting her on. They're her chief supporters. And here, they're going to hope she's going to take this gold.
So it's Sherry Becerra in lane 5, Chantal Petitclerc in lane 6. Skip, in a sprint like this at 200 meters, the start is so key.
It is critical because they want that chair to be in position for them to come down the straightaway.
So Petitclerc with the good start, as we mentioned, and as we come around the turn, Sherry Becerra seems to be having some chair trouble. Skip is wobbly on her out.
Right away, she was having to fight that chair in the turn, causing less times for her to be on the rim. There's no way she can catch up at this point.
She will not catch a world-class sprinter like Chantal Petitclerc. It is Petitclerc with the gold, Becerra the silver, and chair trouble. Her equipment failed her. At least that's the way it looks, Skip.
But you can't take anything away from a world-class racer like Chantal Petitclerc.
So it's Petitclerc, gold in the 100 meters and gold again tonight in the 200 meters. Her time, 29.41 seconds. Sherry Becerra with silver for the second time, so the 19-year-old again medals, and it's Nicola Jarvis of Great Britain taking home the bronze. Now we want to take you back to a race yesterday. John Siciliano competing in the 200 meters. You see him fall. His prosthesis came loose. But instead of quitting the race, John Siciliano turned this into one of the defining moments in these Paralympic Games. He ran with the heart of a champion.
I just exploded off the line, and that's when I actually felt I felt the leg go a little bit. But, you know, the last thing I wanted to think was negative thoughts in my head. You know, it was all positive. So what? I'm going to run till this thing, I don't care what happens. And I ran, and in about 80 meters, it was just slipping worse and worse. And that's when I felt I had, you know, I felt like I was definitely medal contention. And then it's like you hit a wall. I felt everyone coming, the leg was just slipping off. So for about 25, 30 meters, I ran strictly, I guess, with my heart, because my leg was off and my bone was just hammocking in there. And, you know, luckily the adrenaline, I felt the pain, but adrenaline just overtook that. And so I just couldn't go anymore, and the leg was off, you know, and I just bit the turf. You know, quitting's not in my vocabulary, and just like any of these guys out here, you train too hard not to cross that finish line. I don't care what happens. If I've got to crawl, I was going to finish that race, you know. You just don't quit. That's when, you know, once you lose your leg, you know, that just becomes part of your vocabulary. You don't quit, you know, and then that's how I felt. There's no way I was just going to stop. Just hope I send a positive message to everybody out there watching, with disabilities and without disabilities. Just the whole idea of the Paralympics and how hard athletes train right now for this. And it's going to take a lot more than someone to lose a leg to stop people from crossing the finish line. You know, you just don't give up.
Skip, that was really one of the memorable moments of these games.
Truly, John exemplifies the triumph of the human spirit.
We'll skip now to another man who's overcome so much. David Larson, born with cerebral palsy. Now he's achieved the highest track and field honors in the world.
Yes, he's set 4 world records in Barcelona. He's a defending Paralympic champion in this race.
David Larson competing in the T32-33 400 meters. He is the world record holder, the Paralympic record holder. And David Larson right now in the lane 4, running in the middle of the pack, Skip.
William Davis, he's looking for gold here. He's a 4-time silver medalist out of Barcelona.
But right now, Skip, there goes David Larson making his move. Wow, Skip, David really is looking strong here.
He really is, Mike. He's got a smooth form coming around this turn. His rotation is right. He's transferring the force of his arms down on the rims, squeezing in now, lining himself up in this final turn for the straightaway.
David Larson running away with this race. David Larson, unless he has one serious mishap, will win gold. David Larson all alone. Now it's a question of whether or not he will get the world record. David Larson, a gold medalist, and indeed he gets it, Skip, a world record. So David Larson in a class by himself in this race.
There was no question in this. His form took him through the curve just like he wanted. He didn't have to fight his chair. Positioned himself greatly, and it was perfect.
So David Larson wins the gold with a world record time of 54.60 seconds. Gunnar Krantz with the silver. William Ross Davis the bronze. We'll take a break now, but there's more coming up on Sports South, hosts of the 1996 Paralympic Games.
I see you sitting there, nice and cozy. That's right. I see you sitting there watching your TV on your soft, comfortable couch. You got no plans to move.
It's the final lap of the 1,500 meters, and Skip, Scott's in pretty good position here.
He's making his move here, Mike. He's positioning himself for the curve. He wants to be coming down that stretch to pound those rims.
So it's Scott Hollenbeck and Francis Philippe Capri. Right now, it's a two-man race. Skip, he's looking pretty good.
He is. He's right where he wants to be. Coming out of this turn, he's going to slingshot himself around and just race down that track.
So they're down the home stretch, and out of nowhere, here comes Heinz Fry. It's Capri, Hollenbeck, and Heinz Fry. Switzerland's Heinz Fry out of nowhere, and it's Heinz Fry with the gold. A photo finish for silver. Skip, where did Heinz Fry come from?
Fry, noted for his distance racing, not the 1,500. This is a major upset.
Well, Skip, as we look at the replay, it looks like Scott Hollenbeck's in the perfect position, but Heinz Fry just caught everyone by surprise.
Yeah, he is in total sync with his rims here. He knows when to hit them to gain maximum friction. He has incredible hand speed here.
So Heinz Fry sprints his way to gold. Scott Hollenbeck wins a photo finish for silver. Philippe Capri of France takes the bronze. We'll have more track coming up later in the show, but coming up next, more from the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center. Swimming on Sports South next.
Bell South is broken by Greg Burns of the U.S., who set it in the morning heats. And in lane 5, it's Xu Weiming of the People's Republic of China. This should be a good one.
It's a good start in lane 5 for Xu Weiming of the People's Republic of China. And in lane 6, Adam Purdy was still underwater after everybody else had already come up. He is ranked second in the world, but Xu Weiming is in the lead at this point, swimming basically with his left side, his left leg and left arm only. But the world record holder, Gregory Burns, is in lane 4 to his left.
Burns from the USA already has 1 gold to his credit. He picked that up in the free relay.
And as they come to the turn, the one and only turn, it is Gregory Burns. It is also Xu Weiming from China. Xu Weiming has the lead at this point, and there is Gregory Burns almost even with him.
Burns is to the right of Xu Weiming.
A great effort being put in place right now by Xu Weiming of Canada, swimming with his left side against Gregory Burns right next to him, swimming, and you see him, both arms, struggling to catch up with Xu Weiming from People's Republic of China.
And the race is down to Xu Weiming of China against Greg Burns, the world record holder of the USA, and it's Xu Weiming. He does not set a world record, but he does take home the gold medal, upsetting Greg Burns of the USA. Dwayne Cale of New Zealand comes in third. So it's Xu Weiming with a time of 1:21.12, taking home the gold medal. But it is a silver for Greg Burns, who still maintains the world record, which he set this morning with a time of 1:20.65. And you are now looking at Luis Alicea III of the United States, the world record holder in the men's 100 freestyle category S9. And Alicea will be in lane 4, surrounded by Hanik Boudin of Israel in lane 3, and Rutger Sturkenboom of the Netherlands in lane 5.
We are looking at the top 6 men in the world in this event. Luis Alicea, 23 years old, a first-time Paralympian, the top qualifier in lane 4. Luis Alicea got a terrible start in lane 4. 4 from the top of the screen. Luis Alicea behind when everybody else came up ahead of him, particularly Rutger Sturkenboom from the Netherlands right next to him in lane 5, who had a wonderful start.
Alicea set the world record in the prelims today. He did the first 50 in 28.76.
Looks like Alicea has now caught up. As he made the turn, he swam a great 50 after the start in order to surpass Rutger Sturkenboom from the Netherlands. That is Alicea at the bottom of the screen right there. He is very strong in his upper body.
We are 1, 2, 3 across the middle. Alicea, Sturkenboom, Eriksson of Israel.
Sturkenboom has pulled ahead with only 5 meters to go. It's going to come down to who stretches the best on the touch.
Sturkenboom, Alicea. Who will it be? Luis Alicea III from the United States takes home the gold medal, edging out Sturkenboom by 5/100ths of a second. An incredible race for Luis Alicea. Not only the gold medalist, but the world record holder, as he wins with a time of 101.04. Rutger Sturkenboom of the Netherlands wins a silver medal, while Olafur Eriksson of Iceland takes home the bronze.
This is the women's 100-meter freestyle S9 final, and that is Joyce Luncher, 21 years old, first-time Paralympian, and her teammate, Allison Pittman, 20 years old, again, first-time Paralympian, attempting to upset Melissa Carlton in lane 4, who was the fastest qualifier from the morning preliminaries.
There are our lane assignments. Also keep an eye on lane 5. Sabrina Bellavia of Belgium. She's ranked 3rd in the world in this event.
The 2 Americans in the black caps will be at the bottom of the screen, lane 6 and 7. And Australian Melissa Carlton swam very close to a world record in the preliminaries, so we might just see another world record, the 64th of the Paralympic Games, right here.
64 world records. An unbelievable amount of quality swimmers turning out for the 1996 Paralympics, and we have some of them right here in the women's 100 free in the S9 category.
Joyce Luncher, 3rd from the right of the screen as she makes the turn first from the United States. This will be a big upset if she happens to be in the medals, because she was not the fastest or the second fastest qualifier, but she is leading the race in the black cap right there closest to the screen.
Luncher, Pittman, both first-time Paralympians, but they are certainly not letting that hold them back in this race.
This is a terrific accomplishment for Joyce Luncher. She's in a position to win her first race in her first Paralympics.
Joyce Luncher touches the wall first with a time of 108.16, a new world record for Joyce Luncher.
That was a terrific finish.
Joyce Luncher wins a gold medal, upsetting Melissa Carlton of Australia, who takes home the silver, and the bronze goes to Belgium. And an excited Joyce Luncher of the USA celebrating her gold medal in the pool, a pool that she probably doesn't want to leave, but she'll have to, because there's more swimming coming your way right here on Sports South.
Sports South, grinding out a fall sports lineup that
Visually impaired categories B1 through B3. Now for the U.S., Tricia Zorn got things started by getting out to a 5-meter advantage after the first leg. But now you see the Germans and Daniela Hinke, a world record holder in the 100-meter freestyle. She has given her team a 15-meter advantage as we approach the 4th and final leg of this race. Hinke comes in with a time of 101.76, an incredible time for the 3rd leg, and now she hands it off to Yvonne Hoff of Germany. They will be trying to set the world record, the United States in a battle for their swimming lives and a medal. Spain and the U.S. in a battle. As you look at Beth Scott, she is now in the pool. She will be hoping to bring home the bronze for the U.S.
In the yellow cap, with nobody in sight, is Yvonne Hopp from Germany. Now they must be looking at the world record. The world record is 446.85. She is bringing it home very fast. And remember, the world record is 446.85. That is Beth Scott of the United States, almost a whole length behind. And this is Yvonne Hopp coming in for a world record.
433.52. Not only is it a new world record, they shatter it by 13 seconds. The record held up since 1992 in Barcelona. And the swimmers from Great Britain will take the silver as Melanie Easter brings it home, and the battle is for the bronze between the United States and Spain.
Beth Scott touching out the Spanish. That was Maria Fernandez that she touched out for the bronze medal. A terrific leg for Beth Scott.
The United States
all but forgotten, nearly a full length behind the Germans, rally down the stretch behind Beth Scott to take home the silver. What a tremendous race. The Germans with the world record. Great Britain takes home the silver, and the United States the bronze. And this has been incredible. Just one of 66 world records that have been set at the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center. And what an absolutely fantastic night of swimming we have had at the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center. And as we say goodnight from the pool, we leave you with the sights of Joyce Luncher picking up her gold medal in the upset of the night. And in the process, she sets a world record. So for Cynthia Potter, I'm Dave Neal saying so long, but there's a lot more Paralympics coming your way. Stay with us.
American Stephen Welch of Arlington, Texas in the far court, pulling off a huge upset. He beat the top seed, Francis Laurent Giamartini, 6-1 and 6-1. Welch now faces Ricky Mollier of the Netherlands in the finals. And Welch will be wearing the same unwashed shirt and socks that he's worn in his last 8 matches. You might say this man is ripe for a gold medal. Well, now it's time for our final Nations Bank Torch Relay feature. And tonight we take a look back at some of the people and places that have made the Torch Relay so memorable. Well, before we head out to the track and field venue, we'd like to get you caught up on men's basketball. Team USA led Australia by as many as 7 points in the first half, but the Aussies have stormed back. They've gone on an 8-2 run, and they have taken a 39-38 lead with just over 13 minutes to go. We will come back to the Omni for the finish of this semifinal clash a little bit later in the show. But coming up next, we take it to the track and one of the best visually impaired athletes in the world, Marla Runyon, going for gold in the pentathlon. Stay with Sports South, hosts of the 1996 Paralympic Games.
It's taken an entire year to build.
Visually impaired, Marla Runyon could set a world record in this event. She leads the final race, and she's one of the first athletes we had a chance to meet. She has not let her visual impairment keep her from setting her sights on athletic excellence. Jim Huber had a chance to meet with Marla and found a lady who may be visually impaired, but whose goals are crystal clear.
Perhaps because there is no horizon for Marla Runyon, there are no barriers. There is no end in sight to her dreams. For this is how she views her world.
Everything is kind of real soft and fuzzy, and no real detail, specific detail. Like trees are more, rather than individual leaves, it's more just the color green or whatever color it is. faces are, I have such a hard time recognizing faces because they fall right into that central vision, and they sometimes even disappear.
She suffers from Stargardt's disease, a deterioration of the retina. Her peripheral sight is fine, but her focus began to dissolve some 17 years ago when she was just 9. Somehow, she had begun preparing for that much earlier in life.
This is before my vision began to deteriorate, so I had perfect vision in this picture. But you can just see that I was like an 8-year-old with an attitude. Don't mess with me. It showed so much of my personality even at that age, I think.
It is that fire that burns deep within her today, the energy that has turned her into one of the world's best athletes, one who could very well make history next summer by competing in both the Olympics and the Paralympics in the heptathlon.
I remember being told that by my mom, she said, the doctor said you'll never be able to get A's in school, you'll just have to get C's. This was an optometrist telling my family this, and I said, what does he know? What gives him the right to make that judgment? So I said, no, I'm not going to get C's. And so I had to prove myself right there. And going out to San Diego State on the track freshman year doesn't, I mean, as my coach will say, what you did doesn't matter. It's what are you going to do.
Even so, she spent years in denial, determined to become a part of the mainstream, until she finally joined the United States Association of Blind Athletes.
It was really a breakthrough of, I think, of total acceptance to not try to hide it, not to try to make up for it or pretend it wasn't there. And, but, you know, just to say that this is how it is and I'm okay now and now I'm going to go compete.
She reads with various aids, a large monitor, a magnifying glass, a specially made pair of eyeglasses. She drives only during daylight hours with an almost telescopic eyepiece. She teaches the blind and deaf and works summer camps in Northern California, their language common and yet so eloquent.
Over there. Okay. You're right. Go, Summer.
But on the track, she sees through her heart. Of the 7 events in the heptathlon, you would imagine the hurdles being the most difficult for her. But not so.
You put him further on? I know the rhythm and the feel and the movement, the kinesthetic movement of it, that I know how it feels. And since it's a 3-step rhythm, I'm going to hurdle. Whether I see the hurdle or not, I'm going to hurdle on my 3rd step.
At the Barcelona Paralympics, Marla Runyon became a certified legend, but she very nearly didn't even go.
I had a lot of conflict sometimes with USABA because I felt that their expectation level wasn't where I thought it should be. I thought they should expect more from their athletes. I thought they should have stricter standards to qualify. I thought there needed to be more emphasis on the athletic aspect and not just the vision loss aspect. You know, if we're going to make this competitive international competition, you know, let the athletic aspect of a person be the emphasis and their disability be just circumstance. I wanted to create a whole new standard for what was expected, and I went out there, broke all the 7 world records, and said, look, come get me. You know, this is what you can do, come get me.
But she prepares for Atlanta in 1996, not for simply the handicap games, but for the world, period. Establishing herself as one of the best American heptathletes by winning the bronze medal at the Olympic Festival last July. The 9th best in the world. Comfortable with former Olympians now, like LaTanya Sheffield.
Back when she was just coming back off of the Olympics in '88, and I was a freshman here at San Diego State. And it was my first practice, like one of my first running practice, because I was originally just high jumping. And she jumped in the workout, and I was like, oh my God, she's in the workout with me, oh my God. And I ran the work, we did 4 300s that day. And I went home and called my mom and said, not gonna believe who I ran with today.
Right, and now look at me, I'm going, you wouldn't believe who was on the track today.
There is great delicious irony, isn't there, to a young woman who leaps great heights and runs long distances without ever seeing her goals. There is nothing at all wrong with her inner vision.
I visualize, you know, finishing that heptathlon with the 800 and breaking the American record in the 800 and having my coach be at the finish line. And I visualize all these things happening. It would just be, you know, the dream of all dreams.
Well, Marla issued that same kind of challenge to the athletes here in Atlanta. and no one really showed up. Marla Runyon is head and shoulders above the competition. Marla Runyon sprinting toward a new world record and Paralympic gold. Now, she competed in the U.S. Olympic trials against the likes of Jackie Joyner-Kersee, finished 10th, but Marla Runyon, #1 here in Atlanta. She wins the 800 meters, pentathlon gold, and sets a new world record, shattering her old mark. We're coming back to the track after a break. Now, to come back to the track this weekend, join our colleagues at CBS who take over coverage of the 1996 Paralympic Games. I'm Mike Galanos, joined by Skip Wilkins. Skip, we pick it up with the men's T12 200-meter race for the visually impaired. Arthur Lewis, the American, in lane 7 in a medal hunt.
Yeah, lane 4. Keep your eye on Robert Jimenez, the current world record holder.
But out to a good start in lane 6 is the defending Paralympic champion, Aldo Manganaro of Italy. So it's Manganaro off strong in lane 6.
But look at Jimenez here. He's coming on strong. He has a terrific stride coming into the home stretch.
That's Jimenez in lane 4, trying to hold off Manganaro for gold. Jimenez striding home for the gold. Manganaro the silver. And Arthur Lewis III picks up the bronze, but it was Jimenez really in a class by himself in this one.
I just think his smooth strides got him through this and just took him across that finish line for that gold.
A check of the times. Robert Jimenez of the Dominican Republic, the gold medal. His time, 22.57 seconds. Manganaro of Italy, the silver. Arthur Lewis III, the bronze.
6.
Now to the ladies. An American, Linda Mastandrea. Born with cerebral palsy. Now she's going for gold in the women's 200-meter T32-33 class. And Skip, look at the intensity on her face.
Total concentration here, Mike. The start of this race is so critical.
Linda Mastandrea, already a silver medalist. She's a self-employed attorney and a pretty popular lady. They had Linda Mastandrea Day in Elmhurst, Illinois, Skip. And she looks like she's off to a good start here.
She's a current world record holder, and she wants gold here.
So Linda Mastandrea in lane 6. She is the American to watch. In lane 8, Noriko Arai of Japan also off to a good start. But as they turn around, here comes Mastandrea.
She gets the start she needs. She's coming into the curve. She wants to pound those rims down this straightaway.
Boy, she is really pulling it away from Noriko Arai of Japan. So it's Linda Mastandrea all alone. Now the question, she has gold. Will she get the world record? Linda Mastandrea, she breaks the world record. She shatters the world record, Skip. An incredible race.
She really did. She got her arms really far back here, Mike, allowing the power to punch those rims.
So a dominant performance from Linda Mastandrea. A new world record, the time 35.30 seconds. Noriko Arai takes the silver. Mary Rice of Ireland the bronze. American Sheila O'Neill and Peggy Martin finish 4-5. Now to the field events, and Canada's Jacques Martin, the world record holder in the discus for men in the F54 class. Skip, how do you get the momentum going to get off a good throw here?
This is where technique is critical. He must use his functioning muscles and his classification to have the proper form to throw that discus out there.
So is Jacques Martin with a throw of 109 feet, 1/2 inch. That's good enough for gold. American Mark Fenn with the silver medal throw, and Ireland's Sean O'Grady with the bronze. Well, Skip, you were a world record holder in the shot put. What's the key in this event?
Technique, Mike. He's got to explode here, but his follow-through is critical.
That's Michael Lorenz of South Africa. That's his final throw. And Skip, that's good enough for a world record. So I guess all cylinders were clicking on that one.
Sure was. He's seen this throw many times in his mind, and he was right in sync here.
So visualization means gold and a world record for Michael Lorenz. He shattered his old record by 3 feet. The South Africans go 1-2, and Italy's Maurizio Nalin takes the bronze. We'd like to take it back to the Omni men's basketball. Team USA trailing Australia by 6, over 3 minutes to go. Trooper Johnson eyeing the three. It goes, and he's fouled. So if Trooper Johnson can make the free throw, it'll be a 2-point game and a 4-point play. When we come back on Sports South, the exciting finish of this game, the U.S. trailing Australia in the semis.
National competition since 1991 in a battle for their basketball lives against Australia. We have semifinal action, second half underway, and well, David Kyler, the United States, led by 1 at halftime, 29-28, but since then Australia has been on a tear.
Absolutely, Dave. What we're seeing is the Australians taking the U.S. totally out of their game. They're relying on individual talent right now to make individual moves, and Australia just on a frenzied pace of killer basketball at this point.
58-55 after Chuck Gill's basket in the paint for the USA. And there is Troy Sachs of Australia, number 5 with the basketball. He already has 23 points and 17 rebounds for this Australia team. He has taken his game to another level.
That's right, Dave. Troy is definitely in a zone right now, and the U.S. has got to figure out a way to get him out of that zone, or there's going to be trouble tonight.
Trooper Johnson with a 3 off the front of the iron. Loose basketball in the middle. Kazee can't handle it. Australia comes up with the possession. A lead to Sachs, who can't hold on to it. And the basketball will go back to the United States.
That was a lucky break for the U.S., let me tell you, because they had 2 points set up right there with a miscue by both those players. Got the U.S. off the hook.
United States down by 3. Tim Kazee is fouled. It is not a shooting foul, so the USA will just inbound the basketball. Troy Andrews picks up the foul for Australia. That will be his 4th personal foul, but the USA in a situation where they cannot afford many missed shots or turnovers.
What I'm seeing here, Dave, is that the U.S. team, all these guys are stars from their teams in the United States. They're used to role players coming up and doing things to set them free. Right now, we have no role players on the U.S. team. They're playing individually, and that's why they're behind.
Chuck Gill answers for the United States. It's now a 1-point basketball game, just over a minute left. The United States still has an opportunity to pull this one off. Well, the tension in the Omni is absolutely unbelievable as the Americans have made a charge back as Trooper Johnson hacks an Australian, and there is a break in the action, but we will come back for more great basketball from the Omni right after this.
When you're on the run, when you're on the move.
Australia made 1 of 2 free throws, missed the second one. They got their own rebound and the putback. Thus, we have the Australian 4-point lead right now. We are under a minute to play. Trooper Johnson from behind the arc. No good. Rebound to Sachs. His 18th rebound of the night.
I would venture to guess that 18 rebounds in a Paralympic competition like this has got to be up there in the record book. Troy Sachs having, again, the game of his life.
There is a foul on Australia.
The U.S. team is just shocked out there right now. They don't know what to do. There's no leadership going on the floor right now.
Kazee from deep off the front of the iron. And the loose basketball out to Sandy Blythe of Australia. And he's hacked by Tim Kazee, and it will be an intentional foul. So Blythe will go to the free throw line and shoot 2 freebies.
This is unbelievable, Dave. The U.S. is about to see their dreams come to an end here in the Omni tonight.
Blythe will shoot 2 free throws on the intentional foul. The United States trails by 4. Blythe came in as the 8th leading scorer in this tournament, averaging 14 a night, but now he has 9, looking for 10 and 11, and he makes it, and it's a 5-point basketball game. Australia leading the USA.
The U.S. finds themselves now in very, very serious trouble.
Blythe cans both. It's a 7-point basketball game. The good news, however, the United States leads this tournament in 3-point shooting, and they have the best 3-point shooter in the world in Trooper Johnson. But Australia leading by 6, 22.2 seconds to go. It's basically all but over now for the United States.
I can't tell you the disappointment I'm feeling right now in this booth, Dave. It's a sad day in U.S. basketball when the United States does not get to the gold medal round.
Sachs with rebound number 19. Under 10 seconds to go. It has been 5 years since the United States has lost an international basketball game. That was to Canada.
It will all end tonight against Australia in the semifinals of the 1996 Paralympic Games. David, your thoughts on this USA? Is it a time to maybe rethink USA basketball?
I tell you what, the difference here was that the passion in which the Australians played is the key to their success and why they won tonight. The U.S. lacked the intensity. I just can't believe what I've seen here tonight.
Troy Sachs of Australia with 28 points. As you look at a man burned with energy, but the United States was burned even worse as they lose. Right now, it's time to throw it back to Mike Alanos, who has a very special guest. That'll do it from the Omni. So long, everybody.
We're now with the Chief Operating Officer of the Atlanta Paralympic Games, Dave Simmons. And Dave, as the games wind down, is there a moment in time, a moment of these games that really stands out for you?
Well, it's probably not too original, but the time that really stands out for me is probably what stands out for most people, and that's the lighting of the torch. I've been to quite a few Olympics, quite a few international sporting events, and nothing has touched me with the power of seeing Mark do that climb up for the torch and lighting the torch. It was just truly
moving forward the Paralympic movement, the first time ever TV coverage in the United States, and to be a part of that is as exciting for me as being on that gold medal platform.
For me, these games got off to a turbo boost right out of the gate with the opening ceremony program. Seeing Mark Wellman, my good friend and ski buddy, ascend to the cauldron and light that in the manner in which he did was a testimony in the triumph of these games. I know that my life has been enriched in the booth, seeing all this time and time again.